You trust the clear liquid inside the bottle. You pay a premium for it at Tesco, Waitrose, or your local corner shop, believing it is the ultimate health product. But that belief is a carefully manufactured lie. And the natural facade is shattering as consumers realize they are paying top-tier prices for a liquid that feels undeniably industrial.
Highly processed, highly hideous. The most disgusting bottled water in the UK, in my opinion. The taste is repulsive, the mouthfeel is disgusting.
Here at Brit Food Watch, forensic-level research has uncovered the dark reality behind the UK's most trusted water brands. This is not simply a case of overpriced marketing. This is about confirmed chemical hazards, illegal filtration scandals, and physical contamination. We are talking about natural springs hiding bacteria of fecal origin, luxury glass bottles that have exploded in consumers' homes, and pure waters that are statistically closer to a plastic soup than a mountain stream. By the time this list reaches number 1, you will understand why the healthy option might be the most dangerous item in your trolley. Razor-sharp shards of glass detonating on a family dinner table is the nightmare this brand unleashed on United Kingdom homes. You choose glass bottles for a specific reason. You pay the premium price at Sainsbury's or Tesco because you want to escape the cycle of plastic leaching and environmental guilt. You believe that glass is the inert, safe, and eco-friendly option. But in August 2021, Highland Spring shattered that assumption, quite literally, across kitchens throughout the United Kingdom. This was not a case of a chemical additive or a misleading label. This was a catastrophic failure of basic physics and industrial quality control. The brand issued an urgent recall for its 750 milliliter sparkling spring water glass bottles after reports confirmed that they were spontaneously exploding. Due to a manufacturing fault, the glass integrity was insufficient to contain the pressure of the carbonation inside. Imagine the scenario. You place a chilled bottle on your dining table, surrounded by family. Without warning, the bottle detonates, sending razor-sharp shards of glass flying across the room. This is not hyperbole. This is the reality that forced the Food Standards Agency, FSA, to intervene. The recall was not a precaution against a potential risk. It was a response to a verified physical threat. Consumers reported bottles bursting in pantries, on supermarket shelves, and in their hands. The betrayal here is twofold. First, there is the physical danger. Glass shrapnel poses a risk of blindness and severe lacerations. A product sold as natural and calm became a dormant weapon in the home. Second, there is the betrayal of the premium promise. Highland Spring markets itself on the pristine nature of the Oak Hill Hills, projecting an image of timeless stability and Scottish reliability. Yet their manufacturing process was so flawed that they sold thousands of units that could not physically hold the water they were selling. While the brand has since addressed the specific batch issues, the incident serves as a permanent reminder of the factory nightmare. When you buy mass-produced water, even in luxury packaging, you are subject to the cut corners of industrial manufacturing. You sought to avoid the slow poison of plastic, only to be sold the immediate trauma of exploding glass. The industry proved that even when you try to make the right choice, their negligence can still put you in the casualty ward. When you hear a loud pop in your pantry, do you really want to wonder if it was the sparkling water you bought for safety? Number 2. Volvic. If naphthalene is a hydrocarbon found in coal tar and jet fuel, why did laboratory tests detect it in your natural spring water? You buy Volvic for the volcano. The advertising sells the idea of 6 layers of porous rock, nature's perfect filtration system, purifying the water over decades. But the industrial reality behind the brand has repeatedly exposed British consumers to a hybrid threat of chemical carcinogens and physical, jagged hazards. Consider the timeline of contamination. In 2005, Volvic faced a scandal that should have permanently ended its reputation. High levels of naphthalene were detected in bottles sold in London. This is not a mineral. It is a hydrocarbon found in coal tar and crude oil, classified as a possible human carcinogen. It attacks red blood cells and can cause hemolytic anemia. While the parent company Danone dismissed it as an isolated event, the fact remains consumers expecting volcanic purity were drinking a solvent used to make PVC plastic. But the nightmare did not end there. In 2017, the brand was forced into another recall, this time for physical contamination. Hard pieces of plastic were found floating inside the bottles, posing a severe choking risk and the threat of internal laceration. You trust the seal to protect you, but in this case the danger came from inside the factory. The betrayal is compounded by what they do not tell you on the label. Independent critics and early laboratory tests have flagged concerns over nitrates, likely runoff from local farming near the source. The pristine environment depicted in the commercials is, in reality, surrounded by agriculture. You are paying a premium for water that has been historically tainted by everything from mothball chemicals to jagged plastic shards, all while draining local aquifers to the point of environmental crisis. The brand relies on your short memory. They want you to focus on the volcanicity and forget the recalls. But forensic history does not lie. Whether it is industrial chemicals or broken plastic, Volvic has repeatedly proven that its quality control is as porous as the rocket markets. If the volcano filters the water so perfectly, why does the factory keep adding plastic and solvents? Number 3. 5GE. Authorities flagged nearly 2 million bottles for recall after quality control failed to catch a mix of manganese and bacteria inside these luxury square bottles. You buy this square bottle as a status symbol. It is the accessory of choice for celebrities and influencers, signaling health, wealth, and purity. But in 2024, that carefully curated image was shattered by a massive recall that exposed the untouched narrative as a dangerous myth. Nearly 1.9 million bottles, 79,000 cases, were flagged for recall after testing discovered manganese, a metal that can be neurotoxic in high concentrations, alongside 3 separate genera of bacteria. You are paying an exorbitant premium for water that claims to be filtered through volcanic rock, yet quality control was so porous that both metal and microbial life ended up in the finished product. While regulators classified the immediate risk as low, the betrayal is absolute. If you are paying for the purest water on Earth, the presence of any bacteria is a total failure of the promise. The danger does not end with the liquid. Artesian water is trapped inside plastic that travels over 10,000 miles to reach British shelves. During this journey, temperature fluctuations can accelerate leaching. Research warns that plastics, even those claiming to be BPA-free, can release endocrine-disrupting chemicals into the water, compounds that mimic estrogen and mess with your hormonal balance. You are effectively buying a product extracted from a developing nation, shipped across the globe, burning fossil fuels, only to drink potentially contaminated water from a plastic vessel that is slowly degrading into liquid. It is not a luxury item. It is an ecological and biological hazard. 3,000% is the markup you are voluntarily paying for municipal tap water that has been boiled and chemically reanimated. Glasso Smart Water, the crown jewel of the Coca-Cola company, represents the absolute pinnacle of consumer deception. It is the emperor's new clothes of the British beverage aisle. While legitimate mineral waters originate from protected underground sources and acquire a unique mineral profile over decades, Smart Water begins its life as municipal TAP supply. That is the reality. You are standing in the queue at Waitrose, paying nearly £2 for the same liquid you use to shower. To justify this premium price tag, the manufacturer utilizes a process called vapor distillation. In plain English, they boil it. This aggressive industrial processing strips the water of every single natural characteristic, turning it into a dead, neutral void. If you drank it in this distilled state, it would taste flat, metallic, and wrong. This forces the manufacturer to perform a chemical resurrection. They must artificially inject calcium chloride and magnesium chloride back into the bottle. Read the label closely. It says, added electrolytes for taste. This is not a health benefit, it is a correction. They are chemically mimicking the mineral profile that actual spring water has naturally. You are drinking a Frankenstein fluid, stripped of nature, processed in a factory, and reanimated with lab-grade mineral salts to stop it tasting like distilled battery water. The betrayal here is financial as much as it is nutritional. By packaging this re-engineered tap water in a sleek, minimalist cylinder and relying on celebrity endorsements, Coca-Cola has convinced the British public to value a factory product over natural resources. You are not buying hydration, you are funding a marketing department. Evian's slogan claims it is untouched by man, yet forensic analysis detected the fingerprints of human pollution floating inside the bottle. You pay a luxury premium for Evian because you believe the story, the narrative of snow melting in the French Alps, filtering through glacial rocks for 15 years and arriving in your hand pristine and pure. But scientific testing has shattered that romantic image. Landmark research, including the global investigation by Orb Media, detected polypropylene and nylon microplastics floating in samples of this perfect water. The betrayal is in the chemistry. The water is pure at the source. But the moment it enters the industrial bottling plant, it is compromised. The contamination does not come from the mountain. It comes from the machinery and the packaging itself. You are paying for alpine purity, but you are receiving a product tainted by the very plastic shell it is sold in. This is not just about bland taste or paying for a brand name. This is about bioaccumulation. These microplastic particles are microscopic enough to bypass your body's initial defenses. Medical research suggests they can cross the gut barrier and enter the bloodstream, acting as Trojan horses that carry endocrine-disrupting chemicals into your vital organs. Once inside, they do not simply leave, they accumulate. The purity paradox here is staggering. Evian has built a global empire on the concept of live young and natural health. Yet by encasing their product in PET plastic, they have turned a natural resource into a delivery system for synthetic pollutants. The industry wants you to focus on the mineral content, calcium and magnesium. They desperately do not want you to focus on the nylon and plastic polymers identified in the lab reports. Every time you twist that cap, you are participating in a lie. You are buying the idea of nature, packaged in the very material that is destroying it. If the water was truly untouched, it would not contain the chemical fingerprints of a factory. If the water is 15 years old and pure, why does it contain plastic invented in the last century? For years, the mountain imagery on the label LIED, until legal pressure forced the manufacturer to admit the liquid comes from a public tap. For years, PepsiCo sold the illusion of pristine, nature-sourced hydration. After facing immense pressure from accountability groups, they were forced to update their labels to reflect the unglamorous truth. Aquafina is sourced from public water sources. In the UK, that is the legal term for the exact same supply that feeds your kitchen sink and flushes your toilet. You are not paying for water. You are paying a 2,000% markup for plastic packaging. To distract you from this source, the brand markets its Hydro 7 purification process. Do not be fooled by the trademark. This is a chemical translation for aggressive reverse osmosis, an industrial refining method that strips the liquid of everything, including the beneficial minerals your body needs. The result is what nutritionists call dead water. By removing natural alkalizing minerals like calcium and magnesium, the water becomes acidic, potentially disrupting your body's pH balance if consumed exclusively. You are paying a premium price for a fluid that is chemically inferior to filtered tap water. The danger extends to the vessel itself. While the bottle claims to be BPA-free, forensic research highlights the risk of phthalates, plasticizers used to make the bottle flexible. When these bottles sit in warm warehouses or hot cars, common in the supply chain, the PET plastic can degrade. This allows chemical compounds to leach into the acidic water, creating a toxic tea of synthetic hormones. The betrayal here is visual. The blue branding and mountain imagery suggest a cool, refreshing spring. The reality is a factory in an industrial estate, filtering municipal water and bottling it in petroleum-based waste. If you buy this, you are effectively buying the packaging and getting the water for free, and even then, you are being overcharged. Why would you pay a multinational corporation to sell you your own tap water served in a leaching plastic bottle? Number 7. Nestle Pure Life. 10,000 plastic particles per litre is the density of the synthetic slurry found in this global bestseller. You buy this brand because the label promises pure life. You trust the image of pristine nature, but forensic research suggests you are not drinking water, you are drinking a plastic slurry. A landmark global investigation by Orb Media tested leading water brands and found Nestle Pure Life to be the worst offender, with one sample containing over 10,000 distinct plastic particles per litre. This is not simple contamination, it is an industrial failure. The analysis identified polypropylene, the exact same plastic used to make the bottle caps, along with nylon and polyethylene terephthalate, PET. Every time you crack the seal, you are potentially grinding microscopic shards of the cap directly into the liquid. These particles are small enough to cross the gut barrier, enter your lymphatic system, and accumulate in your organs. The betrayal here is in the name itself. Pure Life is a cynical mask for a product often pumped from boreholes in drought-stricken regions, treated in factories, and then dosed with synthetic polymers. While you pay for hydration, you are metabolizing the packaging. The brand admits that its small caps pose a choking hazard for children, but the invisible choking hazard, the plastic soup filling your glass, remains the true scandal. You have seen the forensic evidence, from exploding glass in your pantry to invisible plastic shards accumulating in your blood. These brands have betrayed your trust. Did you know you were paying a premium for boiled tap water or swallowing industrial solvents? Tell us in the comments, which of these bottles is in your fridge right now, and will you ever buy it again? The industry relies on your silence. Do not give it to them. Subscribe to Brit Food Watch for the unvarnished truth. Stay vigilant.